Now then, where were we?
I mean, the world has a bit of challenge in some places, but compared to the other worlds, it's a complete pushover. Even the world's boss, Toasty, who is, I quote, one of Nasty's most devious henchmen, is literally a sheep in a scarecrow costume. Menacing. So either, A, Nasty doesn't seem threatened by the dragons at all, like at all, seriously it's a sheep, or B, his expectations of his soldiers here are so low that he could appoint literally anything as their leader, and it would still prove to be a league above them. Man, you guys make Nasty proud. Moving on from this world, we arrive at the Peacekeepers world, and honestly, this is probably my least favorite world. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool world to explore, and the levels are fun, and a step up from the first world, in terms of difficulty at least. But I just don't like it. I don't recall liking it much as a kid either, and I don't particularly enjoy it now. It just feels blur. Alright, I am cutting it a bit short, I admit. There's normal sand, lighter sand, and darker sand.
Aren't you funny?
I kid, there are some pretty interesting levels. Just not particularly as interesting as the other homeworlds. However, the enemies in this world are pretty cool. Well, some of them. Excuse me, ma'ams. I have to save my brethren, so if you don't mind, I'll just be passing through. Okay, that was just rude. These guys make my day. Every day. All day. Also, the cannon soldiers provide a fair bit of fun to be had, and that's about it. I'm sorry if it sounds lackluster, but I do not have much to say about this world. One day, you might become a real dragon. Real dragon. Real dragon. Real dragon. Real dragon. A real dragon. Real dragon. A real dragon.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
Now we head to the third world, the Magic Crafters. This has to be my favorite of the worlds. It has such a beautiful setting. The world's fun to explore, the levels are decently challenging and fun, and it has probably my favorite thing about this game, the Green Druids. If you've played Spyro the Dragon before, I think you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. See, within the Magic Crafters world, there are different kinds of wizards. Now isn't that weird? Some gust wind, some shoot ice, some are completely useless. But my favorite one, and probably my favorite enemy in the entire game, are these guys. The Green Druids move and raise different platforms throughout the world and levels. They have no attacks and are easily killed, but when they manage to block your path, they mock you. See? Even when you make it past their platforms, they laugh. Yeah, I don't think your scheme is working, bud. Stop laughing! You can scare them, however, but even then, they laugh in the face of fear. I love them. I love them to bits. Alright, so we just hit down here and... Hello? What are these things? Why's that thing working? They won't die. Crap, run!
I hate those bugs. When I become big and strong, like you, I'll squash them all.
Well then, looks like Spyro's passionate. See, here's the thing with Spyro. He's a lot smaller than the other dragons. I don't know if you know. Because of this, Spyro isn't strong enough to take on some enemies, as the dragons seem to boast they are. I mean, they never fight, so they could be just scared.
A word of caution, little one. Wait until you grow big, like me, before charging those large enemies.
Yeah, they're scared. Because the Spyro's lacking in strength, being a much younger dragon, this is where power-ups come into the game. See, each of Spyro's dragon-like abilities have temporary power-ups on different levels. There's one that makes Spyro fly, though it's only available in speedway levels, so it doesn't really count. A flame boost, which allows Spyro to burn through enemy armor and pretty much anything else. And a supercharge, which makes Spyro run super fast.
Go, 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 gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, faster, faster.
And with the supercharge, gliding can also be combined if done right. This means there's a whole lot more to it when getting to inaccessible locations, opposed to just using it for attacking enemies. Let's take the level Treetops from Beastmakers. I hate Treetops from Beastmakers. The whole level is saturated with different places to reach using the supercharge. See an area that's too far to glide to? Well, just get a good running start and... What? Where am I going? I can't see! It takes some skill to control, but it's rewarding when you can finally get to the more difficult areas. Practice makes perfect, of course. It's a nice change of pace for the platforming, and actually requires some skill. Now we arrive at the Beastmakers world, and honestly, this world comes as a close second to Magic Crafters. Like I said before, each of the worlds have their own feel. and Beastmakers is definitely not short of it. It feels so mysterious. The echoing music, the dark fog on the endless water in the distance, it even feels a bit creepy. Well, it did when I was about 7 or so. On that note, there is something that genuinely scared me when replaying this game. See these things? These are warthogs. They're a bit annoying, but no real threat if you can see them coming. But they travel quick, and will damage you if you don't react. Again, not a problem if you have them in sight. So, we get this part here in the overworld. This kind of thing seems to be a common trend in the game, so I'll just have a look and see what we have here. Holy shit! I literally jumped out of my chair when playing this again. How could they do that? This isn't horror! What was I talking about again? Oh, yes, Spyro. So yeah, alright, let's just go. And scared me to death. Next world. Now for the final dragon realm, the Dreamweavers. Okay, yep, that sums it up. As for Nasty's world, I won't say much. Only that it's a smaller world, but with much harder challenges. And Nasty himself. His boss battle's not bad, apart from the only thing he does is run away. What was that word I used before? Menacing. There we go, that's the one. There's also Nasty's treasure hoard. This is basically his personal stash. To access the treasure hoard, you need to collect absolutely everything in the game. Everything. That means all the dragons, the gems, the eggs the thief stole. Oh god, please help me! Now, what are some things that annoy me about this game? To start, the bosses. Each world has a boss, and they all suck. Well, the one in Beastmakers is pretty cool, and Nasty is the obvious exception. But other than that, they're all super easy, short, and annoyingly bland.
But I'll tell you one thing, he should watch his back.
Gee, his back? How obviously subtle. You know what would be funny? If that actually turned out to be his weak point. Oh wait, it is! They could have had the same effect by adding a huge sign which says,
Warning, his back is not his weak point. Don't bother trying because it won't work. Don't even think about it. You shouldn't even be reading the sign because it's making you think about it, which you shouldn't do. Don't go for his back. Don't do it.
Also on the topic of stuff I don't like, is the gliding mechanic. Well, part of it at least. See, as I mentioned before, one of Spyro's key abilities is the glide, so it's happening all the time. But there's also a huge amount where you reach the platform, you nudge it, and you fall, which results in you dying or having to try again. And for whatever stupid reason, there is no grab or anything of the sort. It could have been so easily fixed, and so much frustration would have been avoided, but nope, this is my only real solid gripe with the game, possibly only for the fact that it's such an easy fix, and could have made so many parts of the gameplay so much smoother. Hang on, I forgot about the soundtrack. Now, the soundtrack for this game isn't any grand, dramatic pieces like Shadow of the Colossus, intense, daunting battle themes like Metal Gear Solid, or ambient, atmospheric themes like in Metroid, except maybe for Peacemakers. But damn, the soundtrack has some fine melodies. It's not meant to get you emotionally invested in the music, unless it's from nostalgia. It's just there to flow with the gameplay. Now, there's a large variety of songs in the soundtrack, but they all work to create one thing they all do differently: the mood for the levels. Speaking of that, all the tracks, I hate the word tracks so much, all the songs correspond with the levels perfectly. They fit the setting, the intensity, and just the mood as a whole for almost every single level. It's hard to describe, so how about I show you? Alright, for the track that is played, I want you to decide which out of the 4 levels displayed you think it's from. Alright, go. Now if you picked level number 2, that's not even Spyro. So the soundtrack isn't the thing you should be worried about. Number 4. Still don't believe me? Well, let's try again. It's number 3. Stuart Copeland, the soundtrack's composer, did an exceptional job of creating a soundtrack which really brought the game to life. In fact, when making the soundtrack, Stuart would beat every single level before making its theme. Well, try to at least.
Immediately, I've got to beat this bad guy before I can stay on that level for long enough to write a piece of music for it. So I have to learn how to beat all the bad guys. And if I was having to pay for my helpline, I'd be running up a huge tab here.
I love it. If you want to see more, you can watch a full interview about Stuart's composure on the game here. It's incredibly interesting and I highly recommend it. Revisiting Spyro the Dragon brought me back to a simpler time in my life. A time with no responsibilities or cares. All you cared about was that sweet 100% score, which you had all the time in the world to try and get. And you know something? Playing this relic from my childhood made me remember something I'd suppressed in my memories. How goddamn hard it is to get to 100%. Wow, Spyro the Dragon really sucked up my life, didn't it? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and